3 Punkte.
Hintergrund auswählen?
Runter. Stellungen. Ist noch mal. Nein, weiß ich nicht.
Da waren wir ja schon.
Mal raus. Hier draufklicken.
Jetzt.
Nochmal.
Schau, jetzt übersetzt das mal automatisch.
Ja.
Das war jetzt eigentlich nicht geplant, dass es mal übersetzt.
Let's.
Here is the spelling room. Okay.
Du willst das jetzt unbedingt schaffen.
Say something? Did the head not? Again and again.
Wollen wir leiser machen.
Hello, everybody. Mob wanted me to say something so that he can test the sound in the listening room. Hello, Mob. Is the sound working?
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you can hear me and you can at least see me somehow. I'm muted. That's a weird situation because I shouldn't.
I hear you, but like in the room. No. You hear? That's me. Okay. I couldn't hear.
Front, right, front, left.
I'm supposed to be heard. I hope that I'm to be heard.
Maybe it's me.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much. Thanks for also for your patience with a little bit technical complications we had here so far. But because it's a parent event and we always have technical complications. It's our part of our brand, and I gladly welcome you to the official part of the European Pirate Party Council meeting today in the September. I'm happy to meet a lot of the delegates directly on site, as well as many of those remotely. I believe there was already registration ongoing. However, we are about to discuss the election of meeting chair and minute takers, as well as approval of the agenda. So I would like to ask you or propose you that if I would like to propose you that I will be chairing this meeting, and the minutes will be taken by Marco Consolonieri and by Harris from the Young Pirates. I would like to ask to express in the opinion now we are waiting for the respective pet, and I would like to ask you, as there is the pet prepared, to actually state your opinion in form of declaring yes or no on this proposal on behalf of your respective party. Yeah. So seemingly the proposed path was prepared. I'm sending that to the Jitsi chat, the respective path that was prepared, and it's in the Mattermost as well. I will send it to the council meeting channel. So I would like to ask the minute takers if there would be a possibility to set up a vote on the proposed chair and minute takers for this meeting, so that party members can actually state their position to this proposal. Yeah, I still see being a list of the voters being updated, so I think it will be needed to on the quorum and check.
How much is it?
Whether we are satisfied with the proposed chair and minute takers. So the proposal is prepared for the vote on the line 60 plus in the minutes as we are taking them. I would like to ask you to cast the vote simply by writing into the pad, including the name of the delegate and the party you are voting for, whether you are voting in favor or against or abstaining on that proposal. I would also like to ask you if you cast more than one vote to explicitly write how many votes you are casting.
We can see you whispering.
Sorry, sorry.
Mic is open.
Okay, I see there are 17 votes in favor, no votes against, no abstention. As according to the counts of votes in the council, we have altogether 29 votes of the delegates, and 17 are present. I hereby declare, first of all, our quorum is reached, so we are capable to make decisions. Secondly, the proposed chair and the minute takers have been approved. As a second thing, I would like to approve the draft agenda as it is proposed. So the draft agenda, or I would like to approve an agenda to be precise. The agenda can be found on the wiki. Also copy paste the link here. And I would like to ask you to declare your stance in the same way as we did in the previous case, either to abstain. Oh, sorry. Wait a second. Are there any proposals to alternate or change the agenda as we have it here proposed? I see a hand raised from Dario.
Yes, hello, do you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Not yet.
I hear my voice from my mic.
You can be heard in the room, but not remotely.
Okay. I don't know what we can do.
Through your microphone.
Okay.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
It's working now? Yeah, okay, cool. So from Catalonia, we wanted to add a motion to the end of the agenda about Pegasus and some new developments that we have learned in Spain.
I see. May I ask what would be your idea of time schedule or alternating of the time schedule?
No, just at the end of the agenda, just at a point, so we can expose what we have learned about the situation in Spain.
Okay, so I suggest that we shorten the time slot starting at 16:15 that was dedicated to update from working groups and ongoing projects. And we set up a new point at 16:30 that will be called Pegasus update.
Okay.
It could be done in, yeah. So, yeah, it will be stated explicitly. I just remind that there is a point of any other business in, if needed, for prolonging the discussion. There is a question on the mattermost whether that point shall be added to the proposed agenda. Are there any objections to this proposal to alternate the agenda? Seemingly not. In the room, I see no objections remotely, so we can include a point to the proposed agenda. Are there any more proposals to alternate the agenda? I see no one in the room and no one in the remote, so I would like to ask you to vote on the proposed agenda on the lines 104 and farther on, as it was alternated, which means including the point regarding the Pegasus that shall be in 16:30. I see 16 points in favor of approving the agenda, no vote against, So I 17 votes in favor of the agenda. So I consider the agenda in this form to be approved. And we can go directly to the first point. And first point of the agenda are the motions. And there is one motion that is to be discussed, and that's a motion tabled by a board to change the statutes to allow non-pirate parties as a full members of the association. The exact wording you find, or the exact wording of the motion you will find in the attachment in the wiki. We can also copy it to the minutes. And there is also a PDF summarizing that motion, where you can read what is supposed to be deleted and what is supposed to be included. May I ask, is there any representative from the board who would be willing to introduce the motion?
No, yes.
Yeah, so I see Yasmin, so I give you the floor.
Can you hear me? Like first to set this? Yeah, I think. Okay, so the motion that we will be voting on today is regarding changes to the statute to the Article 7. So the proposed changes to the statute are as such that the requirement for a party to become a member is no longer that the party needs to have pirate or any translation of that word in their name. So this would allow other non-pirate parties to join the European movement, and this condition, in a way, that is removed is supplemented by another condition, and that is that the parties need to have then the pirate logo somewhere visible on their sites. Well, here it states it exactly that the logo should be included in addition to their logo, so like the pirate logo together at parliamentary and European elections. So these are simple, two simple changes to the Article 7, and it's kind of a package. So the board proposed to vote on it together because it's deleting a requirement, but it's also adding one. So I think this is it from my side about that.
Okay, thank you very much for introduction of the proposal, and I would like to open the discussion for the council to comment on the proposal. I see hand risen from Alios from the German Pirate Party.
Yes, I want to talk in favor of this proposal. Can you can't hear me? No. Your microphone is on, but it's not. Yeah, damn it.
Okay, can you hear me now? That sounds good. So we discussed this in the German delegation and are in favor of this proposal because I think we still want to register the European Pirate Party with the European Parliament, and there, as far as I remember, we need people from 7 different countries where they have people on national, regional, or European level in the parliaments. So that would give us a great opportunity. And maybe another argument for people who think, oh, should we really take people in which don't have pirates in their name? We have our manifesto, which is part of our statutes. So people joining the European Pirate Party will also accept not only our statutes, but together with it our manifesto, which also has, I think, the conscience of what our political agenda is. So I don't think there is much you have to fear that some people with completely different political views will join us. At least they have to accept our manifesto. That's it.
Thank you very much. Are there more people raising hand? I see hand raising from Michal Gill from the Czech Pirates.
Hello, can you hear me? Cool, thank you. Yeah, I would also like to speak on behalf of this. For once, I appreciate that it combines these two measures at once, so there can be no talk about losing identity through this. I would also like to point out that it's already done within the PPI. We already have a member who is the Internet Party of New Zealand, who doesn't have the pirate in the name, so I would appreciate if PPEU would have done the same. And the biggest argument, of course, is that so we can create the European
Thank you very much. Are there more contributions to that?
party this way, or it can help? Certainly. Thank you.
There is some echo. Are there more people willing to comment on this proposal? There were comments from remotes, I believe, that there were some issues with the quality of the sound. So if you could repeat, maybe it would be better. And I see hand raising from Katarina Stenson from the Swedish Pirates.
Yes. Hey, can you hear me? Is the mic working? Yes. Yeah, great. Yeah, I have a question because I don't know all of the background to this, and that is, have you discussed with the potential members whether this requirement of having the logo, is that a limitation for them, or do we know if that will affect or how much that will affect the potential to actually get new members that are not officially pirate parties?
May I ask you to maybe switch on the mic, or there is some issue because some people are complaining that they could not hear the question. I will maybe try to rephrase it, whether we have discussed with the potential members whether that would harm their initiatives to actually join the organization. To clarify on that, there is currently no member or no organization applying for full membership where this condition would be relevant. If we look into the, let's say, first part of the proposal, we lifted the condition for having pirate in the name for the observer member already previously in the previous council meetings. The observer members are also not bound to use the logo yet, and will not be bound by this motion. The obligation to use the logo is only applicable for the full members, should this motion be passed. I hope it answers the question.
sort of, but not really. I was actually more thinking if you think, have you discussed whether it might be too strict limitation? Or
it's a bit hard to assess who should be aimed for this discussion, because currently actually well, yeah, to my knowledge there is no applicant who would apply who would be willing to apply for the full membership. However, when we are talking about European electoral law, the obligation to use the logo is expected to be present anywhere, anyway. Which means if there will be a European Pirate Party running for using the transnationalists in the election, or if there will be like Pirate Electoral Association, it will have to use the common logo anyway. That's why we have considered to be relevant to mandate this as a condition for the full membership, and also use it as a tool for strengthening of the common identity. However, that was the reasoning behind the board, and I think we were pretty much of that understanding that should some of the council members be not satisfied with this idea, we can technically split the votes on the deletion and on the addition, so we can vote on those things separately. It's a possibility if someone would arise this proposal. Still, like, the board did not propose it that way. We proposed that as a package. Yes, I see hand raising from Alios and hand raising from Cedric, and I'm afraid Cedric was the first one.
Yes, I was. We have two delegates from HMKKP right now, and yes,
I have
indeed.
an issue to hear you.
Oh.
Cedric?
Yes.
I hear.
I can hear him all right.
Hello? Who can, who can't?
We hear you.
Okay, so let's go. So yes, we have two delegates from MKKP, from Hungary, and they can't apply to PPEU right now because of these mandatory things. But we can ask to them if this new change can make them apply right now, in fact.
It seems we have a disruption because some of the connections within the Jitsi are not there. So
Mikuláš, we hear you.
Of course, my I would like to transfer the sharing because I'm unable to hear the speakers for some technical reason, and therefore I would like to transfer the sharing to Cedric if he is available.
I don't know if you can hear me. Yes, I can for the moment. I hope that you will take it back, but yes, I can. So there is some people that want to speak, and yes, I want an answer from Thomas and or Peter from MKKP, if possible. So first, Thomas wants to speak. Go on, please.
If you are asking the thinking of MKKP, it's like we are going on elections together with the parties. We have a history. I mean, we were doing projects together, and we get to know already each other. So we wouldn't apply from one day to the next. But if we start to work together, for example, from tomorrow, then the question is open from us. So if we can work together, then yes, it can happen, but not for now.
We need
so it's like if the membership will say yes, then we will join. But the thinking of us is like we have to have a co-working history first.
True. The question is not that we want us to apply right now. The question is that is the use of our logo is a question that can make you thinking against an application to the PPEU. That's all. We all know that we need to know each other. So
I can't answer for the logo. That's the membership question.
Okay, thanks. So yes, as Alessandro said, there is some questions or people want to speak. So Alios,
Yeah, can you hear me now?
we can.
Perfect. Yeah, I want to go back to this thing with the logo. I don't see a big problem with it because it's stating you need to use the logo during a campaign. So it's something we would have in our statutes to use if a pirate party or a member, let's put it, misuses its rights, then we would have a way to say, hey, you didn't use the logo, you do your own thing during the elections. But I guess we won't use it against, I don't know, some party which maybe uses the same pirate logo but without the stars or something. I would not think that the council would say, oh, we have to kick those people out because they don't use exactly the right logo. So it's just a tool we have in our statutes to use against potential districts who can join.
Thanks, Raman.
Can you hear me all right?
We can.
You can, okay. Personally, I have a bit of an issue with the wording of a amendment or with a proposal in paragraph 2, subsection 2. Firstly, the wording to bear is used twice, so I assume that that would be corrected. And second, there is a use of and/or, and I don't know if that is something that the board put in order to make the council decide which wording to use, or if it's supposed to be there like there. But I would like to point out that in the legal sense, the words and or have a completely different connotation. That if the word and would be used, then essentially there would be an obligation for the parties to bear the pirate logo for both the European Parliament elections as well as national elections, Whereas if a word or would be used, then it would be a bit more vague, and it would essentially imply that the party could decide whether they would want to use the logo only for the European Parliament elections or only for the national elections. And so I think that if we would like this legislation or this amendment to be very clear, and for people to be able to refer to this in the future without any confusions, then I think that we should discuss those conjunctions particularly, and because to me they seem a bit vague.
Thanks. We must consider that again. Your turn.
Oh, okay. Is my microphone working?
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Okay. So I guess I'll try to also speak directly face to face to our KKP colleagues. So I'll just try to sum up because maybe there's some context missing, at least for you. Like, first thing is that as far as we know, the European Union will be requiring this in the future for full members of European parties to have basically a common logo. So we're trying to sort of to harmonize ourselves with this new directive. Maybe it's not a directive, but a new European law that is being prepared. Of course, it might also happen that it will not be in this form, but the expectation is that this will be in the new law. And secondly, like, it's perfectly okay for you to be just observer members, because in that case you don't have to change anything, name, logo, anything. You don't even have to very publicly, let's say, declare your membership in PPEU. If it's an observer membership, and of course, as you said, if it works out, if it seems like the cooperation has some sense, then of course, like in, I don't know, 1, 2, 3 years or whenever you want, then you can apply for full membership, which will probably have this requirement. But let's say we're not the wording that we're adopting, or that Yasmin is proposing, is not. Like, let's say it's not some hard rule that covers all possibilities. There is a room for interpretation, and that this is intentional, so that the individual cases can be discussed. Okay. Okay, I yield my time.
Other people wants to speak? Seems not. So. I see other discussions. Alessandro, go on.
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, you can't. Okay. I think that, Chair, you should reconsider the quorum for statute changes, because it seems that unfortunately we have the quorum for vote on this council meeting, but not for statute changes, because we have to have a selected majority, not just a simple one. So in case there is not the case for few votes, I think that we have to postpone it to the next council meeting and think about it, because this is also a problem that we had in Milan, if you remember. I mean, and actually we had also in the past. So because participation is a great thing, guys, but the thing is, I don't blame anyone. We did a great job to be all here and remote today. We did a great effort, and it seems that it's quite not enough. So I mean, that's it.
Thank you. I will ask our man Mab to make the count. You will say, and we will postpone if needed. Mikuresh.
I would have maybe two suggestions regarding the procedure. First of all, I think it's reasonable to, let's say, accommodate the comment of Raman regarding and or connections in the sentence. So I would suggest that we just keep "and" there, and that's it. So that's clear. And so the second, I would suggest to the council to consider, let's say, a parallel vote on this particular motion over the time, because if we have been not able to reach the quorum here in the meeting, despite all the effort we put into getting people in Brussels and so on, I'm a bit afraid that such a statute change can take quite some time to be adopted. So it would be maybe reasonable to run it over the time or over parallel and to provide further opportunities for the members to express their positions.
Thank you. So there is a no about we can vote today about this point. There is a problem of sentence. Thank you, Raman, for that. So we will postpone the point to the next council meeting and have the correction in the time. So thank you. Mikulesh, can you take back the chair?
Yes, I'm taking back the chair. May I ask, are there any objections regarding this proposed procedure to postpone it to the next council meeting and correct the respective and/or thing? I see hand raised from Alios and Bastian's almost same time, but I guess Alios was the first one.
I would suggest that we do, now I'm missing the English word, of Meinungsbild, so a vote, not really voting on this thing, but to see what the different pirate party or members of the council think about this proposal. If we postpone it so that we at least have the feeling no one wants this, or a majority would be there, at least for the people participating, if the sentence is fixed, so that we get at least a feeling about this proposal out of this meeting.
Straw poll. So I would like to ask you to participate in a straw poll that we would prepare. And I would like to ask you maybe for a combined straw poll when there would be options for both addition and deletion, for the deletion separately and for the addition separately. If you could provide let's say 3 straw polls independently. And I see hand raising from Bastian.
Yes, I have another solution for that problem. We can do the voting for this board meeting, council meeting. We did need a double majority, and if we have majorities, 2/3 majority today, we can ask for the second voting via postal votes, whatever. So we can do that in the written form. Every member is pleased to vote on that. Then we need not another council meeting again. Thank you. To add something, in statutes, it's not written that so the double majority has to be presented in one meeting. Thank you.
I need to consult the statutes to read out the exact phrasing. Yes, an attendance quota. I'm afraid that the major issue here is not the 2/3 majority, but rather the 2/3 attendance quota, which is not yet fulfilled. If I'm not mistaken. And I'm afraid that this attendance quota can only be reached in a postal voting parallel in the upcoming weeks. Unless there is suddenly some pirate party appearing and saying we want to participate, which would be marvelous, because we could do such an administrative decision. But seemingly that's not the case. Okay, so the exact phrasing of the straw poll was finally proposed on the line 139. So look please into the minutes. There will be line 139. There is the exact phrasing of the straw poll, and state your, let's say, opinion about a particular issue. This is not binding, it's just a straw poll. There was a question how many members are we short from quorum. So in my understanding, the count of the votes in the council has not changed since the last meeting in April. So the total amount of votes in the council is 29 votes. As there are currently represented council members possessing, according to my counts, 17 votes, and the 2/3 out of 29 shall be at least 20. We are missing, if I understand the situation correctly, 3 votes.
For quorum, you need members, not votes. We have 18 members. We need 12 present. We have 10 present.
Okay, so I was informed that I'm actually misinterpreting, which is the case, the statutes, because the number of votes does not count, but rather the number of members. Both. No, for the quorum, only the number of members. For the decision itself, both of the number of members and number of votes. But I mean, like, we are not even able to vote. So I mean, like, should we be, then it would be 2/3 of members and 2/3 of votes, but we are not there. Unfortunately, we missed some of the members, if I understand correctly. Let's check once again for the members. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, May I ask the minute takers or maybe map to exactly state what was the number? What are the numbers?
It's 18 because the resolution YP counts.
Ah, okay. YP counts, which means that the total number is 18, and we have present 10. So we have 10. We need 2 additional members to show up. So that's the situation. And the question was for MAP whether we actually count the Dutch pirates to be here. But anyway, I think the straw poll is already built, and it seems to be there is a strong majority. Actually, everybody out of those present, except of Pirate Party friends, who is in favor. The Pirate Party friends would abstain on that one. Yes, Dutch pirates are registered when it was the question. So technically speaking, we would probably, should this straw poll apply also for normal voting, would be able to pass the statute change. However, we can't vote on that because we have not fulfilled the quorum. I see hand risen from Maya and then from Raman. Sorry if I put the wrong order. Maya, will you speak?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I've had I've had my hand up for a while now since I found I missed the huh? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, so I had my hand up for quite a while since it wasn't super clear which part we were voting on, since there was a proposal on the straw poll and seemingly also the formulation at the same time, which I and some others find kind of coordinated. So I've been like, I haven't managed to vote on it because of this. But
yes, in order to
apparently we're going on with it, since the straw poll is already made and we seem to have a majority. But maybe could I propose, say, to the minute takers that they would try to make it obvious in the minutes in real time what exactly we are voting on at any given time, since that would be very helpful. There's so much going on every given moment. Thank you.
Yes, the straw poll, the question for the straw poll was recorded on the line 138 in the minutes. To rephrase it, the question was, would you vote in a favor or against of the proposal in case and the end or issue is fixed and the quorum would match? So the question was, would you vote in favor or against? Then on the line 140, there was in favor, and then 153, there was against. So that's the straw poll as it was put. However, as it is straw poll, it's absolutely non-binding, which means like you can't change the statutes via straw poll, and still the council members are very much free to change their opinion and vote differently in should there be a real binding vote. But we are not there because we have not the quorum. Seemingly, we could build a majority, or possibly could build a majority with the proposal as it stays, which means like both the addition and the deletion together as a package. So I would suggest that we go for taking both of the parts together and put it to the postal voting. But before like doing that procedure, I would like to give the floor first to Raman, who was raising the hand, and then Andrei from Dutch Pirates, who was also raising the hand. So Raman, please.
Well, since you pointed out that the straw poll is essentially non-binding in nature, then I think my comment doesn't really matter that much. But I would again like to say that the question of the straw poll is a bit vague, because even though basically almost everybody voted in favor, as the question is currently stated, it basically only means that people who voted in favor simply say that if a vote would come to pass, they would either decide to vote or against the proposal. And that is essentially what everybody agreed with. Not the fact that if a proposal would come, they would vote in favor, but if a proposal would come, then they would decide if they want to vote for favor or against. So basically, everybody just voted in favor of the fact that they will vote. And that is all. They didn't really declare what they are voting for. They just said that they will vote, as the question is currently phrased, which I think is really vague, but it's, as you said, it's non-binding, so it doesn't really matter that much, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So Andrei stated in the Jitsi chat that there was just a question regarding the registration that was resolved meanwhile. Secondly, I have seen some objections regarding validity of the straw poll. And thirdly, there is Michal raising the hand, so I'm transferring or giving the word to him.
So if I get the Raman correctly, and I assume I do, the or against should be stricken out of the question. The words or against. That the people who vote yes on this claim that they will vote yes in the future. Yeah. Instead of just saying, I will vote yes or no in the future. Yeah, okay. Then nobody noticed it.
Yep. Meanwhile, I was also informed that there could be an issue with the interpretation of the statutes, because we should not have do this vote on the statutes per rollam. My understanding, what we could technically do is to prolong the session of this council further on and use that time for the other parties who are not yet present to register and cast the votes, which is technically speaking not a postal vote, but rather prolonging of this session. That would be my understanding, which from my point of view seems to be legally possible. However, I'm really seeking for an advice and your opinions about this topic, because I would like to see a consensus here regarding the procedure that it is correct. And now I'm giving the floor to Cedric, who is raising hand.
Yes, it seems that in many ways we want to add some asynchronous vote. We really need to address these kind of things, because here we go again, how we can do stuff when we are not enough and so on. So I understand that you want to use extra time, but for me, the time is now to discuss how we can do in status ways, not to construct and go around the statutes. I'm already, I won't say upset, but puzzled that we ask ourselves the same questions, council meeting to council meeting and so on. So from my point of view, no, we must say that today we are not in capacity to vote. And we need to address this problem and not to corrupt our way of doing, but change our way of doing things.
Thank you. Are there any more opinions regarding that question? I see hand risen from Alios.
So I think I just take the chance of what you, if I understand you correctly, Mikuláš, proposed in a formal proposal. So I propose a change of the agenda to move the discussion and the voting on this change of the statutes to the where is my tab with the agenda, to the very end, let's say before the AOB point of the agenda. That would be my proposal for changing the agenda, so that we maybe have the chance to hit the quorum at that time by getting more members into the council meeting during the time.
Yes, so I registered the procedural proposal to later on this afternoon after any other business, and meanwhile try to contact some other members. If I may just comment on the procedure, yes, for sure we should have discussed the asynchronous voting, but should this asynchronous voting require a statute change, we will have this sort of discussion very likely also in the case of that respective statute change, which means it's a little bit tricky to, like, by means of procedure to reach over there. Alessandro?
Yes, I'm sorry for prolonging this discussion, but I think this is a very important occasion to speak about this. Do you remember in 2020, we reduced, the council meeting approved the board proposal to reduce the fee from 300 euro to 50. You remember that? The reason was basically to facilitate the participation of all the pirates that do not have absolutely effort to pay them, because they are really a dozen or whatever, and they have to pay out of pocket every time, right? We had no clue, no problem, no financial problems. We have 13,000 euro in the bank account, so there is no financial bankrupt risk, right? And why? Because as far as I remember, our statutes said clearly that if you don't pay the fees for 2 consecutive years, you can be excluded by the council, right? Because actually you're not participating, you're not paying, you don't have right to vote, and the council can exclude you, right? So that's the time, not today, of course, maybe, but tomorrow, next council meeting within this year, it's the time to clarify the situation. The fee is 50 euro per year, even right now. So the treasurer can say to us, this is the list of the parties that didn't pay fees for 2 consecutive years. And next time, the council can say, okay, first on the agenda, we will drop this from the list. And so we will have real participation and real quorum, because I can't stand with that, the fact that we are here, 10 members, and we cannot vote on this because there are maybe some inactive members, right? That's my point. Sorry.
Okay, thank you for the comment. So I registered 2 procedural proposals. First was tabled by Cedric to postpone the motion to the next council meeting. The second was formally phrased by Alius to postpone the vote until the end of this session. So I would like to ask you to how do we do that? To vote on the first proposal to postpone until the next council meeting, and then the second proposal. So may I ask the minute takers to prepare the poll for vote on postponing until the next council meeting. I see hand risen from Cedric and hand risen from Alios.
Yes, because you want to vote. I can say that I can comply to Alios that we can wait until the end of the meeting. It's just at the end, it's the end, and we can't extend the time. But we can wait until the end. There is no problem for me.
Okay, so I understand it as a withdrawal for the Cedric's proposal. So only the Alios proposal stays in the play. Alios, your hand risen.
Yeah, my point would have been to change the order of voting, because it doesn't make sense if we now decide to put it into the next into the next session, and then after it decided to put it at the end of this session. To vote the other way around would be my. But if the first suggestion is gone, it's okay.
Yeah, thanks for resolving that. I took that approach because the first proposal was recorded as the first one. However, I'm really happy that we find at least consensus regarding the procedure, especially between German and French pirates. It's always very satisfying to see.
Lol.
The vote is prepared at line 162, and you can cast your votes whether you are in favor of this postponing this motion until the end of this meeting. So I see clear majority, at least 15 votes for postponement. So I would consider it postponed. You can still state your position, but let's move further on. So this motion is postponed before the other business to be voted on, and we should move further on to election of code of conduct councils that are to be fulfilled. So, unfortunately, we have no nominations so far for the Code of Conduct Council that remains vacant for more than a year. So I would like to ask the Council whether there is a will to reopen the nominations for Code of Conduct Council here in the meeting. Is there anyone who would be willing to support such an idea? Alessandro, please.
Yes, Mikolash, maybe because I see many new people here, I mean, and that's great. Maybe it would be before the council take this decision to reopen or not the nominations for this vacant position that has been vacant for almost a year and a half, as far as I remember, November last year. And maybe it would be nice if we can introduce the topic to everyone and then ask.
Then I maybe would like to ask if is there a board member willing to introduce the story of Code of Conduct Council? Or Alessandro, would you do that?
Yes, thank you, Mikolash. Just before talking about the Code of Conduct Council that born actually in the fifth council meeting in Milan 3 years ago, we were all together. It was a joint organization from the Pirate Party of Italy and the Pirate Party of Iceland. And it was a great occasion to have all the pirates there. I would like to spend just 90 seconds for telling you a story, so you can just relax a bit after this long discussion. The story was that 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago, a book came on my table. It was called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's an American book written by Stephen Covey, right? And I say, oh no, this is not just another American book, and I forget it until just 1 month ago, and I read it. So, short story long. With the 7 habits, I would just point out 2 of them. The first, be proactive. Be proactive is maybe something that we should ever do, and you see, even today. We miss, we as the board, me myself, I feel shameful to be not so proactive and to test this before. And the fifth habit is seek first to understand and then to be understood. So now this is the link to the Code of Conduct Council. I can share you a couple of links here that are the, let's say, administrative stuff, right? This is, I will put here in the Jitsi chat. This is what our statutes talk about, the Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct, we have the article 20, Annex A. And it says that elections and blah blah blah, and finally the point 6, that is, upon choosing members of the Code of Conduct Council, special competence in human relations, independent working methods, and general trust among members of the PPEU should be assessed. Why? Because the Code of Conduct is not a court of arbitration. It's not something that decides who are the goods and who are the bads. It's really, in his original idea that was tabled by the Pirate Party of Iceland in Milan, its original idea was to find a way to stand together, even with difficulties, and I would say especially with difficulties. Because we are all different. We come across, I can count, I forgot to count how many countries are here represented from all over Europe. And we are different. But at the same time, we are the same. We have the same core values. But it's difficult sometimes to work together. Because I'm Italian. As Mikolash said, probably I'm always late. But you see today, no. Mikolash didn't say it. But I try to speak longer than I should, and I could, right? Right. But I also can listen, Germans, French, even I know Czechs, right? So that's why the Code of Conduct Council is so important for us. It's a place for safety. it's a place also to fail. Like it can happen that I can just speak to somebody and it get offended, but maybe it wasn't my intention, right? So I strongly believe that is important that somebody comes out from this election and put his competence, is willing, is life to support our great organization. Because just because we are many, it doesn't mean that we can manage. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this introduction. Just for the record, I would like to state that today I unfortunately come late, much later than Alessandro, and I'm very ashamed for that. I see no hands risen regarding the procedure or the content. The hand is risen by Andre from part of Netherlands.
Yes. Can you hear me? Yeah. I think if there's a vacancy, then the standard question is how much time will it cost?
Then we probably should ask for someone from the former COCC members. I guess we have Marco here in the other room who could possibly clarify on how was the user experience from the position of board member, the code of conduct council member. Sorry. Can we get Marco to mic?
Yeah.
I guess they have some technical issues with the echo, but he will provide the answer. So hand risen from up. So can we use Map's computer from the listening room to give a floor to Marco?
You hear me?
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Really? Now it's a bit better.
Okay, so basically I was given this mic, so sorry I appear as someone else, as Martin. So if I understood the question, I was asked is how was, let's say, the user experience of the current wording of the statutes as someone who had to follow that procedure. Am I correct?
How much time does it take? What is the kind of implication that you have to do when you are in the code of conduct?
The original question was how much time was that? I've extended that to describe the overall experience from this body.
Okay, because okay. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ah, perfect. So I would say that it's a quite interesting activity because it's a lot softer than being in a court of arbitration, but at the same time it's quite difficult because you basically are not called to say who is right or who is wrong, but you are there to basically help to solve issues and to understand which are the issues that are at stake.
So from my perspective, is a quite interesting activity, but it requires collaboration from everyone. It requires the active collaboration from the people that basically you are trying to resolve the issues of. This can be time consuming, and especially when in the last period where I was in the COCC with Etienne, what we tried to do was to do individual interviews to understand the points of view, to understand how the atmosphere of the party, how the working environment was affected, and to try to propose suggestions on how the situation could be improved, especially in case there were misunderstandings. As I say, the issue is that this requires a very collaborative environment. It's not something that you can have when basically the problems are, I mean, basically the basic assumption of the COCC is that problems don't disappear if you just basically throw the rule book in the face of someone else, like using that as a hammer, like, oh, this is rules broken. That is not what the COCC is about. That is about how to better collaborate. But it requires the will to collaborate. So I would say that it requires an environment where people is actively trying to collaborate with each other. That's the hard part. And at the same time, it should help build this environment, an environment of mutual trust. So I would say that that was mainly our difficulty, that I had the impression that the COCC was thought as the equivalent of the Court of Arbitration of the Para-Parties International. But that's not. It's another organ, and it has another goal. So that's all.
There is a question in the JITSI. How many cases were solved per year?
Okay, in the last year, we, if I remember correctly, we wrote 3 individual reports and 1 general report on harassment in the European Pirate Party.
Thank you for that. It should be reminded that it was not the last year, but rather the year since 2019 to 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
It was in, these 3 cases were in 2021, I think, 2020, 2021. Then in 2021, there was no election. Okay. And sorry, I was told to move, so I'm stealing the PC.
Thank you so much for the introduction. It's absolutely fine. I believe it answers the question. There was a question whether the cases per year, not necessarily cases solved. I guess that referred to cases per year. Those submitted.
I would say that there is also an issue on how we consider the case solved. In the sense that how it was solved was basically issuing a report that, as I said, contained suggestion, contained a description of the issue, our take as COCC on the issue, and our suggestion to improve the situation. However, if the persons involved don't want to follow the suggestions, it's up to them. How can I say? So I wouldn't say cases solved. I would say cases treated.
I guess that answers your question. Are there any more questions for Marco, or maybe some procedure proposal how to get out of the situation when we have no nominees and we are supposed to elect the Code of Conduct Council? Maya?
Now?
Yep.
I unfortunately have no proposal or ideas about how to solve the situation, but I do have a question regarding the activities of the council so far, since looking at the documentation that exists from past meetings of the organ, there is mention of an annual report from 2021, and that one that would be published, but I'm not sure if the report is actually available anywhere.
To my knowledge, the report shall be available in the council minutes, council meeting minutes from the year subsequent after the election of the Code of Conduct Council, because that was the first and last Code of Conduct Council we had, and it ended without electing the new one. But the report was recorded there. Is there among the members any, let's say, procedural proposal how to resolve the situation, or shall I close this point and move to the next point in the agenda? Seemingly there is no proposal. May I ask, are there any opinions how the board shall resolve the situation by means of, let's say, statute change of the or changing of the or reforming the organization? I mean, we can prepare something, but we would need a general, let's say, direction how to evolve further on, because it's not really clear what would be the council's will when which shall be implemented. I see hand raising or proposal in Jitsi from Raman about ad hoc nomination. Does that mean that there is a procedural proposal to reopen the nominations for Code of Conduct Council?
Well, it was just a suggestion, so I didn't really intend it to have any legal weight. But if some people like the idea or if they would like to discuss it, then feel free.
So I understand the statement that Young Pirates of Europe do not want proactively reopen the nominations. Do I? I see hand risen from Alias.
Yeah, then I take this proposal over formally.
Finally, thanks for that. So are there any objections against reopening of the nominations for Code of Conduct Council? Okay, I see no hands risen, which seems that there are no objections, and we can reopen officially the nominations for Code of Conduct Council. I'm registering the nomination for Code of Conduct Council, and I see hand risen from Andre from the Dutch Pirate Party.
Yes, I'm not sure if there's a break somewhere. We might use the break to talk with people, and we talk with Marco or anybody else who was on the Code of Conduct, and then see if after the break we can have a vote on it. So it's good to reopen it officially, but I think if you want to nominate somebody, I would prefer that to be after a break. if there's a break?
There are no breaks scheduled. What we could do is to postpone this point later to the agenda so that the potential nominees have time to think about the option. So I would suggest that we first resolve the points: European Parliament election, reports from the board, update from working groups and ongoing projects, and the Pegasus point. And then we again come to this election. Alios?
Sorry, me again. I don't know if our rules of procedure have such a formal proposal to introduce a break, because I'm not sure if we just shift it to the end and we just continue, everyone is sitting here, if we will find people who want to go for that. So maybe let's say 10 or 15 minutes break might be useful at some point, so people can discuss, hey, come on, don't you want to go on that list, where I think when we continue, we will have no people.
There are definitely there is definitely possibility to like introduce 15 minutes break. So if it is formal request for 15 minutes break, is there any objection to have a 15 minutes break? Cedric?
Yes, there are, because not everybody is in this site. So yes, this is a problem to be part of the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Next time we stay at home.
No, that's not what I say.
Alias, please.
Maybe during that break here in Brussels, we can use the Jitsi room as open mic, so the people who are not here can still use the Jitsi to discuss, and maybe that's kind of a solution.
Is there a problem to, let's say, have that discussed in the Jitsi? Cedric?
As I said, the problem is if there is no possibility to hear what is said. The second problem, so I can agree on that, and the second problem is we need to cut off the online, the YouTube channel to be free to discuss, it seems. So there is no objection to let the mic open to discuss freely.
Okay, so I suggest following. We have a break until 15:10 to discuss the issue. We stop recording for now, and the mic stays open so it can be discussed. So we will rejoin here at 15:10, but please take into account that the remote delegates cannot go with you for the coffee. So if you want to plot who will control the Code of Conduct Council, please do it on Jitsi. It's nice. are again fully transparent and fully observable at the internet. So,
yeah, we are back.
Wonderful. So we are again in the session, and we can again discuss the problem of code of conduct. I was asked to remind you that it's not actually that big burden, because whoever is elected into the code of conduct would stay there only until the next board election, which shall take place at the beginning of December, if I'm not mistaken. So we are really talking about quite short task. It's not a big burden. You can really like test that you are fine with that idea, and you want to work in the Code of Conduct Council without like subscribing for a very long burden. With that, I'm really reopening the discussion, looking forward for nominations or further comments. I see no hand risen. There is one from Andre.
Yes, I was part of the whole thing, why we took a break. As far as I can see now, there is maybe one person from the old council reconsidering rejoining. There may be one person from the Netherlands considering, and I'm not really aware of anybody else who made a decision yet. So, but there may be some progress in this.
May I maybe ask you for a formal, let's say, nomination on behalf of Dutch Pirates to say who will be the one who would be willing to participate in the Code of Conduct elections, if there is the one who could be possibly to be pushed into the position?
I can ask. I'll have to. My colleague is somewhere else. I'm going to find her.
Okay. So besides the Dutch Pirates, is there anyone who would be willing to propose or run for the Code of Conduct Council? Seemingly not. So I would just give another let's say 2 minutes, so that this nomination could be delivered.
Is my mic still open?
Yes.
Okay. On behalf of the Dutch Pirate Party, I will nominate Saira Satlu, who is in the room next door. And also have the message that Marco, who was member of the old, can also be nominated. So that's 2 persons. We need a third.
So may I ask the minute takers to record the names into the minutes that those 2 people were nominated on behalf of the Dutch Pirate Party? So, unless there will be another nomination delivered within 1 minute, I would close the list of nominees, and we would go for a vote with the candidates that are already nominated. Okay. So apparently there are no other nominations. So I'm closing the list of nominees, and I would like first of all ask shortly the nominees to present themselves as candidates, and meanwhile ask the minute takers for preparing the voting ballots for that procedure. We have more positions or more vacant positions than those candidates. I think we can apply the respective paragraph Article 17 Part 5 accordingly, which means we will elect one candidate of the for the position of first Code of Conduct Council member, and one candidate for second position of Code of Conduct Council member, which means for each of them there will be just one round of the voting, and should the candidate receive more than 50%, would be approved. So this is just from my point of view fastening of the procedure, because I see no reason to do in 2 rounds of voting for both candidates. So for each of them, we will just do one single round of approval voting. And I would like the candidates to present themselves. Well, are there candidates present? So please raise the hand or show up. Okay, the candidates are coming from the other room to be here. Are there any objections from the against the procedure? We vote about each of the candidates just once in one round. So please prepare the procedure, and I give the floor to Marco, who is here to present his candidacy.
I hope you can hear me. My name is Marco Consolonieri, and yeah, I had been already a member of the Court of Arbitration, of the Council of the Code of Conduct, and also in PPI Court of Arbitration. So I had been in similar positions too. I've been a pirate since 2008, and I had been also in the past a delegate for the Italian Pirate Party. So I would say that my relevant experience for this position is that, well, I already had this position and similar positions both in the Pirate Parties International and the Italian Pirate Party. yeah, if anyone has questions. But unfortunately, I cannot hear them. So someone will have to repeat them to me.
Should it be the case, I will of course repeat it to you. So far, are there any hands risen regarding questions for Marco? Seems not to be the case. So I would like to ask Saira to present herself.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I am Sarah. I'm a board member of PPA, Party Amsterdam. I have no other experience in PPU, so this one is my first experience. I do have a little bit of experience in arbitrary, but then in other type of organizations.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Saira? Seems not to be the case, so we will be ready for vote. I would like to ask the minute takers to separate the vote for Saira and Marco, so it's possible to cast vote just for one of the candidates and not for the other one. So it happened on the line 195, and subsequent and following, you can cast your vote in favor, against, or abstain on Saira's participation in Code of Conduct Council. And later on line 260, you can vote on, and further on, you can vote on Marco's participation in Code of Conduct Council. Please state the positions of your member parties. I see overwhelming, or actually unanimous, support for both of the candidates. So I would like to congratulate both of the candidates that were elected as members of Code of Conduct Council. And on behalf of the board, I would like to state that we are looking forward for the cooperation with the Code of Conduct Council, and that we are happy that finally, after such a long time, we again have Code of Conduct Council, and we are really happy that someone decided to take the burden of being member of Code of Conduct Council. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Yes, I would like to thank you all very much for your confidence. And well, Marco and I will do all our best.
Thank you. So with that point, I think we are finished with this part of the agenda, and we can go further on to the European Parliament elections. The next point. There are two sub-points. The first one of them is to be regarding the Common European Election Program 2024, and that is to be presented by myself. So I would like to ask Cedric to take over the chairing of the meeting, so I can present the intentions of the board. I hope he copied that.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, I have to admit I have no presentation, PowerPoint presentation, because we decided yesterday to do this presentation, and unfortunately, due to the long pre-party, there was not really enough time to create PowerPoint. So basically, the idea that was agreed by the board is that we start from the Common European Election Program that we used in 2019. As you probably know, and you can find in the on our web page where the program is published, the program is split it into the chapters. So I will send you to the JITSI, the existing program that we currently have. I will send it also to the Metromost. The idea of the board how to approach the problem was that we split the program into the work into the working groups that will work with each of the chapters separately. So as you see there is a chapter Agriculture and Fisheries, there is a chapter Civil Society, there is a chapter Education, Culture, Research and Free Knowledge, and so on. Each of the chapters will have working group working on that particular chapter, and the working group will be coordinated by a coordinator that will be the one personally responsible for the fact that the working group will deliver a respective outcome. However, that doesn't mean that the person is fully responsible or has the unique power to decide on the program. Of course, this should be processed as participative as possible for all the member parties to express their opinion, bring their inputs, and provide a consensual version of political program that would be feasible for all of us. For that purpose, we will distribute among you a questionnaire where you can state which particular chapters or respectively working groups you are interested in, and whether you are interested in just being the member of this respective working group, or whether you want to lead or coordinate such a working group. As we get this feedback from you and restate the list of participants in this discussion, the board will provide you with the final list of coordinators who are responsible for the working groups, and the coordinators will call for the working group meetings and organize further work. That's the idea how it shall technically work. Now, when it comes to the time schedule, our idea is that we would like to have your application for membership in the programmatic working groups to be provided before the end of October, so that the working groups can start ASAP. We would like to, as the working groups will reach some improved consensual text, we expect that in March 2023 there should be a physical meeting of all the interested people to polish and finalize the prepared text, so we can provide it in April 2023 to vote to this council whether such a proposal will be provided to the member parties to ratify. After April 2023, the 9-month period shall start. So at the end of February 2024, which means 3 months before the election, all the parties are expected to ratify that. Of course, the European Pirate Party has absolutely no right to actually impose the election program on its members. So what we provide, or what we will provide, will be just a consensual version that we have found on the European level, and is meant and intended as a proposal to be ratified by the national parties. Still, a refusal for the ratification is fully legitimate. Should some of the member parties be not satisfied with the outcome of this process. However, we strongly believe that all the member parties will participate and provide their inputs so that we will find a consensual text and there will be no hesitation about the ratification. But still, it's an option, and it will be an option. We are not imposing the common program on anybody. It shall be a result of participative process, and it should be consensual. Here, I would really like to ask all the future coordinators to actually work in the spirit of collaboration rather than competition, and try to find consensual formulations so that we all can subscribe under such an election program, despite maybe different national or cultural contexts in our countries. So that's the plan regarding the election program as the board perceives it. Now, I guess I should ask you for a feedback regarding this one. How do you perceive it? And yep, I end my introductory session.
It's time to speak, people. Thomas.
Yes, hey, can you hear me? Does it work?
It's okay.
Okay, so I have a question because there is a list of few areas based on which the working group should be created. I am wondering if you're going to rethink the groups that are shown here now on the topics, if you will add something else, because for example, on my site, I missed something regarding the reform of the European institutions and about the role of the parliament and something more overreaching for the structure of the European Union as a whole. So I'm wondering if you will expand on the list of the areas that are here, or what will be the process? Thank you.
Mikuláš.
The intention of the board would be to provide a questionnaire which would include a specific field to actually address such concerns. So there would be field, which chapter would you like to add? And in that field, you can write constitutional affairs or whatever you would consider to be important. Then we will collect the feedback. I think should there be just one request for such a chapter, we would probably be a little bit reluctant to do so. However, should there be a consent, like a list of demands for constitutional affairs, change of the EU, reform of the EU, and whatsoever, we as the board will do the, let's say, polishing stuff and rephrase it or merge it into one single chapter, constitutional affairs or something like that, and provide it as another option for for the members to call for participation. So that is we are technically able to create new working groups, but we are starting on this baseline because this is, let's say, the baseline. And intentionally, the plan is, should we not be able to reach a sufficient consensus in some of the chapters, we can always like roll back to the previous version of the election program which was the one that was already consensual and approved.
Bastian?
Yeah, the number of working groups Mikuláš named is a little quicker, so I put it in the minutes. So can see that we have the working groups named in an analogy to the European Commission. If there are special needs, you can found another working group. That's not a problem. And we have for discussions, we have two possibilities until yet. That's the special mailing list, and we have for that we have a website. We need to talk. That's also in the minutes. Thank you.
Adios. Oh, Mikulesh didn't see the first one.
Just technically speaking, besides the chapters as they are named here, we had in mind that there should be a specific chapter that discusses the preamble, because naturally that's also something that could be that should be supervised. So, I mean, besides those traditional as there are in the list, there should be one specific to the preamble.
Thank you. Adios.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's maybe a little bit too fine granular right now with I saw this page with its 15 or 10 mailing lists and stuff, and like it was said before, maybe some topics which may rise up maybe in a lot of those topics because they are a broader one. So it might make sense to have some kind of a format like this morning here in Brussels in live, where we discuss in a broader way, and maybe we find out we don't have any real nice positions on this or that topic, so that we first get a feeling for what we want to put in this election program, and then split up the groups, and not start with a schema where we then have to some kind of artificially try to put the things into those different categories. Apart from the fact of having 10 people responsible or finding them might be also hard. So maybe we find some other way. I don't know if, yeah.
Mikulesh, and I will speak after.
This approach was actually discussed in the board as well, and there wasn't at the beginning very clear which one we prefer. After some discussions, we decided for that this procedure seems to be, from the procedural point of view, easier to organize. And honestly, so far we have the experience that the capacity of various working groups within the European Pirate Party was more or less unstable, which means it is maybe a better solution to have like clear structure, clear responsibility, and clear option to really like control the flow of the work, rather than stick into, let's say, a general discussion which would maybe not bring the clear and acceptable results. I mean, if there is a need to, of course, the board actually wants to do this type of coordination, and as said, like we can add chapters, we can theoretically delete chapters, and of course we can also merge chapters. I mean, that's something which is technically possible from the side of the board. And should there be clear, let's say, desire for doing such a step, then I believe we will definitely discuss that and do it. But I mean, like so far there is no clear like intention what to do with the existing text. We still start from the existing text and try to evolve it. Bastian? Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing.
So no Bastian, because I said that I need to speak. And yes, Mikulesh, you're not the chair, so please, order, please. So yes, I put back and the link of the actual program of the PPEU. And there is a mismatch between the program right now and the PPEU working groups in the ages. So we need to match them all because yes, we had some stuff in the past. We speak about space, about transport, about human rights, because I see some remarks about from Raman speaking about human rights, and there is human rights in the program. So yes, I don't think that we need to say that they are missing working groups. There is only the program that we need to go from and reestablish working group according that program. And it seems that yesterday, during our board meeting, we speak about which tool we will use to construct the program for the next 2 years. And this way, if we use discourse as we discuss, there is no problem, in fact, to have a section for each program category, and everybody can see the work in progress, and we can have an open room to there is a point that there is no belongs to, so maybe we have a discussion about it. So there is no problem to have this open room. It seems that Nicolas wants to address an answer, and after Bastian.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm just wondering whether you are chairing or you are have your own things to do. Yeah, we are.
No, Bastian, I'm the chair right now. I said that Nicolas wants to address an answer, it seems. So he may say no and you can speak. And if he wants to answer, I prefer that the discussion is full. And if not, yes, you can speak. But right now, Nicolas, please, yes or no, do you answer to the question?
Yes, thanks for clarifying that. I somehow omitted that part in my introductory speech. The idea is that actually the practical work would be done on a discourse we are currently working on. So the people will be able in asynchronous way state their opinions and the opinions will be archived and recorded and archived. So yes, there should be a specific structure of topics within this Discord discourse that will cover that. And as you are filling into the or as you will be filling into the questionnaire your email, this email will be the contact email which we are going to use in order to send you the respective introduction or invitation to the discourse platform. So don't forget to fulfill your full email and don't forget to fulfill it correctly.
Thanks for the enlightenment. So Bastian, your turn.
Are you sure that I'm have the floor now? Okay, fine. We have already many working groups that want to collaborate internationally, and if we do it in a plenary, there won't be enough time to do that. Therefore, we need a division of the labor. Otherwise, we will not finish until the 2024. And the council meeting is not a place to discuss tools. I think we should use the tools the working groups want to do, not to order the working groups how they have to do their work. That's their business, not our business. Thank you.
So I will answer that right now. you say that it's not time to speak about the tools, but you put the tools about the mailing list. So yes, we can't speak about the tools, but you speak about the tools. Be in a straight way. Don't speak about what you want and so on. Please, please. And we need transparency. It seems that people right now wants to see all the stuff and do not want to go there and there and there and there. A peaceful place where all information is gathered. And yes, if you don't want to speak about the tools, why are you speaking about it? We speak yesterday, and it's just assessment about what the board speak about, which tool we want to use to construct and to provide to people. So why going this way? So Bastian?
Yeah, thank you. I did not speak about the tools we use now. I spoke about the tools we used on the past work. And that's information our members need. I do not speak about the tools we have to use now. That's your office. I just remind you that we have what we have done in the past. That's all.
So thank you. Miklos?
Yeah, I think as a consensual solution, we should definitely send the link for the questionnaire also to all the old mailing lists to give the people who are already participating in the previous discussions and are in the mailing list the opportunity to rejoin and participate further on, to reactivate. So I believe this is something we definitely should do, as well as we should distribute the questionnaire via Mattermost, the main PPEU mailing list. Also, it should appear on the wiki of this from this meeting, and after some polishing of let's say the layout, we should also promote it on the social media. So even our followers, the non-registered one, who are following us, will be able to participate and join the working groups. What is important is to really collect, let's say, the data about people who are now active and now willing to participate in the procedure, and will be organized. I mean, of course, it should be definitely possible for the working groups to have Jitsi meetings or big blue button meetings or whatsoever to discuss it in direct way, and all the coordinators are strongly encouraged to actually organize such meetings. And if there will be no perceivable activity of a coordinator by calling for, let's say, the audio streamed video or audio meetings, or any activity within some like asynchronous tool, like for example Discourse, then of course such a coordinator would have to be considered inactive and would have to be replaced. So we strongly encourage all the people who will become coordinators to be active, to organize live discussions on Jitsi, and also to publish results of their discussions either on Discourse or maybe in other form.
Thank you. Any other question? If not, we may pass to the next point and give back the chair to Miklos.
Thank you so much.
Let's go.
So now we are talking about the second part of the European Parliament elections, those upcoming ones, and that one is touching the merchandising. And here I guess Hansa is the one to introduce it, so I'm giving him the word.
Okay, yeah, it seems like my mic is working. So, motion has been, or well, not a motion, but an idea has been proposed at yesterday's board regarding the upcoming EU elections and the question of merchandise, since we would like to have a bit more of a common program and more cohesive both program and campaign in this election. So it might be a good idea to have also a common merchandise for the election that will be produced somewhat centrally for all the parties. And this could be done in several ways, at least as far as I've been following the discussion yesterday. The one way would be we could establish a PPEU merch company that would be producing this merchandise. Another way would be that a existing merch company of some of the member parties. I think Czech and German parties already have some sort of a established company that is producing merch for them for different reasons. And these could be producing these, and then the parties could basically place orders with these companies. This also brought up the question, especially in case of this second option, what pricing and margins would be? Meaning, should these companies produce the merch basically and then ask only for the production costs from the parties who want the merchandise, or should they be selling them with basically market price with a margin, and this margin would then be transferred to PPEU as additional campaign funds? So this was the discussion that we had yesterday. Of course, the most important question is if the member parties even have any interest or desire to actually have this common campaign merchandise for the 2024 EU elections. Okay, Miklas.
Yep. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm opening the floor for the discussion. The intention is mainly to hear your feedback. We would like to ideally draw some conclusion which direction shall the board further on work to accommodate, let's say, the desires of the member parties, whether you need something like that, whether you would appreciate something like that, and also whether, as said, it should be an activity that provides us further more money, or whether we should do it just in order to get some match available. And I see hand risen from Dario.
Yeah, it wasn't about the merchandise. It was more about the previous discussion that was about the discourse. I think that the open request tool that we saw earlier in the workgroups, in the presentations, I think it will be useful as a part of the process of getting maybe suggestions and ideas for the common electoral program. That could be useful.
I do agree with you. Still, I would prefer to focus on the merchandise thing, and just to comment on side note on that. There is a tool needed for, let's say, the communication within the working group, and there is a tool needed to collect feedback from the citizens. The open Antrag is definitely covering the second one. However, the first one has to be covered by something else. But I would rather prefer to go for merchandise discussion and not stick to the tool discussion anymore. So I see hand risen first from Alios and second from Etienne.
Yeah, I like the idea of having a source for merchandising and for the economic benefits, that if you buy more stuff, you get it cheaper. And also I have a question, is there, because in Germany, because of funding, it's useful for the parties to have their shop because they get more money if they have more income and stuff like that. Is there something similar on the European level so that we not only benefit from having a shop where to buy merchandising, but also to have money flowing through the European Party? Does that bring any benefits?
Do you want Hanzo to answer the questions, or shall I? Okay, so maybe I should answer it. Of course, when it comes to the point, the activity would be naturally subject of VAT, which you are obliged to pay when you are providing services or goods within the European Economic Area. Oh, our idea was, or like the line of discussion was more in the direction, we do not really want to try to resolve VAT issues within the bookkeeping or the ledgers of European Pirate Party. Ideally, we would prefer to have some of the existing companies that are run for that purpose by Czech Pirate Party or German Pirate Party or whomever, and just like include it into their ledgers as a source of like income and expenses at the same time, and just do not create another administrative burden, because especially from my personal experience from the Czech Pirate Party, having VAT within your like party ledgers is something very, very inconvenient. And not because of the transparency, but simply because it provides a lot of additional obligations on the organization. And I see hand risen from Etienne and then Bastian.
I think that it's a good idea, and it would be, I don't know if it's a possibility that has been studied, but it would be interesting to see if small parties can benefit from this marketplace, because I know that it can be difficult sometimes to set up a marketplace for small parties, because it requires a lot of time, and sometimes the price can be a little bit too high. So maybe it could be a good opportunity to provide an help for the smaller and starter party on this topic.
Yes, I see hand risen from Bastian.
Yes, thank you. I'm against us doing merchandising ourselves. We are not a company, and we should look for a provider or vendor who takes over this task for some kind of license fee, and that's it. Other things we cannot handle. It's too complicated. We have to found a company for that. That makes no sense. Thank you.
I see hand risen, Hanzo.
As a answer also to Bastian, as far as I know, like I thought that there is already some sort of a company producing merch for the German pirates, or is everything basically produced by the party itself? But the Czech pirates actually do have their own company. It's basically organizationally wise, it's organized like a German GmbH. So it's a small company that we basically established it because of the curious party laws in Czech Republic. The companies producing the merch at basically market prices, so they actually are making profit from selling the merch mostly to us and our members, but the profit is then actually transferred to the party. So it might seem like complicated, but it's one way of having a transparent production of party merchandise, at least in our country. I'm not sure about Germany and also other countries, but this brings an important point before even basically applying for having this kind of a merch from either PPEU or some provider. The parties should check their laws governing political campaigns to see how exactly they can incorporate this without violating anything, because in most countries in Europe you do have some sort of a cap on campaign expenditures, and you should be declaring all expenditures and all gifts, at least in some countries. So this is something to consider.
Yes, if I may comment on that, when you deliver goods within the EU across border, you are automatically becoming obliged to pay the VAT, which means that should apply to my knowledge in this case. And we are currently in the stage of discussion when we are just asking the board, the council, whether there would be an appetite for seeking a further solution. Should it be the case, then we go as the board to research the existing option, which means set up the shop within the PPEU, or ask some member party, or ask some provider, like for example the company that is owned by Czech Pirate Party or someone else. And then within the board, we will try to find a way which is, let's say, which does not provide too much administrative burden on us, and same time provides the desired effect on the side of availability of merchandise or, let's say, income. Okay, I see no hand risen. May I state for the minutes that the delegates within the council took note of the proposals regarding the Common European Election Programme and European Party merchandising, so that you have been informed of the intentions of the board, and we are continuing with these plans to work. Seemingly there are no objections, so I would like to see in the minutes that the council was informed. If you could state it. Second, maybe specific questions. May I or maybe write into the minutes that the council was informed about the intention to receive an additional income through the merchandising for the PPEU. That we are fine that the system will be profitable. Should it be? Seemingly there are no objections within the council, so I think we can consider that to be consensually consensus within the PPEU, and the board will further inform you about the outcome and the further steps in the field. So with that one, we are finally coming to the next point, which are the reports from the board. First, I'm probably supposed to give a report as a chair, so I would again ask Cedric to take the chairing for me.
So Mikudesh, let's go.
Thank you very much. I will try to keep the presentation from the chair short and simple. As we had an extensive overview in the April. Since that, some, let's say, major events happened. Those were basically the elections. There were elections in France and Sweden. Most of you are probably aware of the results. The Pirates did well and campaigned very actively and passionately in both cases. Unfortunately, so far we haven't been capable to receive any seats in either of those countries. When it comes to the state of play of the PPEU, the board is continuing in its work and started discussions or started preparations of the Common European Election Programme. For the elections 2024, as well as for deployment of tool for asynchronous communication, which is in our perception shall be the Discord, a new Discord server. The main decision was to deploy those tools on a new web hosting server that will be rented for that purpose in order to save the resources we are currently spending for the old one. So we are working on the deployment, technically speaking, now, and the result shall be lowered cost in, let's say, long-term perspective. But since there will be short overlap when we have two of the servers in order to migrate, we will pay them simultaneously for a couple of months. That was agreed and intended, and now I think it's my role over, and it's probably up to Bastian to provide you information from the treasurer's point of view.
Thank you. So I call for Bastian.
Yes, thank you. I can give only a brief interim report here because the office year is still a while away. Our finances are all linked to the PPEU wiki. What you can also see there is only a few members meeting their dues obligations. This leaves us with little room for spending when preparing a budget, and if we don't want to deplete our reserves. This significantly cripples our work. However, in order to continue building this organization, it is necessary to allocate more money for actions, meetings, and public relations. We can also rely on board members and appointees to pay for everything out of their pockets. It's a pity that we have to do that all with our money, and so it's bind us to our budget, our personal budget. This is not how the Pirate Party will work. It will not be as effective as we all hope it will be. So my urgent please is pay your obligations. It's really less money, 50 euros, up to 300 euros. It's nothing, I think, for a big organization as PPEU will be in the future. Thank you.
So if there is no more point on this point, Mikuláš, you can go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I guess I will go ahead, just if I may comment on the very last statement. You have seen that there were today not enough delegates or the member parties present, and part of the problem is that some of the member parties are not paying their fees and not showing up. And should we get into the situation that there wouldn't be participation neither in the physical sense nor in the financial sense, maybe we will be forced into measures a little bit similar to the PPI, which had to check on the membership of their members who are not paying and had to expel some of them, resulting into reaching of the quorum. I don't think we need such a thing in the PPEU again, but I would really, really like to back all the members to pay their membership fees and participate in the work of the organization. Thank you very much, and I would like to move to the next point on the agenda. We are again on the time, which is the update from working groups and ongoing projects. With that, I would like to ask Etienne to actually step in and present what he has regarding the second chamber.
Okay, thank you, Mikuláš. First, I would like to apologize to my fellow colleague from the board and to the member of the council, because I wasn't able to do what I expected to do during the first part of the year. But we still have time because the mandate from the council ends in 2022. So to have a short recap about the situation about the second chamber. Last year, some meetings were organized, and at the end of the mandate of the previous board, there was no proposal ready, and during the first few months of the year, I mostly tried to see where are the common points and from what we can build something. So to have exactly of what we are speaking in mind, the council voted on the motion, and the motion states that the working group, so the second chamber working group, shall be tasked with the discussion of details of a future second chamber to be composed of individual members of PPEU. And it's approximately the only thing that it's common to all the discussions that took place so far, that we should have a second chamber, and that the chamber should be composed of individual members. And after this, the situation is that we do not have any consensus and no clear path to follow, as the different proposals that have been made so far are quite different on several topics. And these are for results that if we propose something today, the possibility to not have the two-thirds majority is important. So in order to move forward and try to reach a consensus, I will propose to the members to complete a form during the next month in order to cut between different options. So you can find the proposal for the form on the second chamber working group channel on Mattermost. But to summarize, there is like four categories: one about membership, one about vote power, one about competencies, and one about procedure. And the point is to see where we can find a majority. For example, about membership, the first question is who can be a member of the second chamber? First answer, everybody. Second answer, individuals that are member of a member party, and so on. So this form will be sent to the member during next month, and the goal is to have by the end of October a more clear vision of the situation, and I hope by the end of the year a usable draft for statutes amendment. Nevertheless, I would like to point that regarding the difficulty to reach a consensus during the first year of existence of the working group that was led by Exile, I'm not sure that we will be able to reach a consensus by the end of this year, and that some delegates point that maybe this proposal to create a second chamber is not maybe the more suitable to our needs, and that it will be probably interesting to ask to the Council again if it wants to create a second chamber. But this question will not be, we won't answer this question today, but maybe it's this something that we have to keep in mind, and that will be probably put on the table to the next Council meeting.
Thank you very much. Are there any comments or questions regarding that report? I see no hand risen, so I would move further on to the next point of the or the next part of this point, which is the report from the communication working group. Unfortunately, the problem is that Peter, who was supposed to deliver that message, was not really able for health reason to participate, or is not really able to participate right now. Is there anyone who could or would be willing to step into the process and provide a report? Seemingly it's not the case. Are there in general any comments or statements that the members would like to provide regarding the communication of the PPEU? I just know that we have during the pre-session organized by the MEPs a specific slot for the delegates who are present on site to actually provide their inputs in structured way for the improvement of the PPEU communication. So there was already a lot of proposals on the table. The result of these discussions is a couple of flip charts with the notes, and these flip charts will be published later on the wiki of PPEU. So you also, for those who are not directly participating in those discussions, you will see at least the written results, and we are working on that you would be able to do so. Are there any more questions or comments regarding the communications, or we can go further? So we can go further. And the next point on the agenda is regarding the Pegasus. So I think I would like to give the floor to Dario to actually update us on the issue.
Thank you, Mikuláš. Well, we wanted to share some news that we have learned about new developments around the state-sponsored spying against Canadian politicians and activists. Two very important topics have come to light. First, the spying has been going on outside the borders of Spain and into other European states. And second, apparently, private persons have had access to Pegasus and similar tools. Although in the Spanish intelligence services have only recognized 15 wiretaps, more than 1,000 people have already been affected, including Spanish registered residents in Belgium. So I see a lot of faces looking at me. I don't know. Okay, it's working. Okay. So the Spanish government has spied on Belgian residents and other based in other European countries. So fellow European state, Spain, has violated all state jurisdictions. Well, and if you think that is bad, it gets worse. In Spain, independent research accredited such programs used by intelligence services, various police forces, and even private entities. In Madrid, we currently have a criminal proceeding between the owners of a big department who seem to have acquired Pegasus or similar licenses from the Spanish security services in order to spy on each other. And this is not the only case in Spain. The Spanish police itself, through the services of Commissioner Villarejo, seems to have leased the use of this program to large Spanish companies, the so-called IBEX 35. Not only are these tap-ins a direct attack against fundamental rights, but they are also a full display of corruption. High-ranked police officers are getting bribes to lease a harmful service to target an individual for the highest bidder. But if you thought it was the bottom of the pit, wait for the last thing. The same independent research accredited that the Spanish government, on behalf of the intelligence services and police force, paid a good share of Pegasus and other spyware's licenses through fake purchases of Israeli weapons called Ramon. Well, that's all. The Catalan and Spanish situation is a clear case that we believe can be used to support a call to action against the spyware, as you are already working on that, but we thought it was useful to tell you this recent information. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this update. Are there any questions or comments regarding that one? Tomasz?
Maybe just to add, in the European Parliament, there was established an investigation committee that is looking into abuses of Pegasus in various member states in the EU. The aim is to collect the evidences and also suggest some tools how to prevent the situations in the future. As part of the committee, there are also missions into the state that were affected by this issue organized. And to be fair on this one, there was a big call for having a mission to Spain, but EPP, the group that is that's part of it, is the Popular Party from Spain, which is actually accused of conducting those spying incidents, is trying very hard to not to have this mission. And at the point right now, it seems that it will be excluded, but we are trying hard to have this mission organized in the future.
Okay, thank you. Are there any more comments or questions? Seems not to be the case. If I may, Dario, if you could provide the update in a written form, or if you have it in a written form, please place it into the minutes so that we have it there. And as it was said, this is being discussed within the European Parliament. I guess it should be discussed in the Spanish Parliament as well. So I don't know how far they are really willing to allow it. However, it's a major issue, and it shall be definitely dealt with by pirates all across the Europe, because we see impact on many other countries, including, for example, Poland and so on. So that's a major thing we will have to address in the upcoming months. With that, I would close this point and moved again to the process of voting on the statute change. I was meanwhile informed that to the members that were previously registered, the Slovak Pirate Party joined. So we are missing just a single pirate party. Is it the case, or are there more pirate parties registered that were not registered as participants of this meeting previously? Do we have another one who would join besides the Slovaks? Okay, seems there is no one aware about any other registration, which is a sad story. Pay your fees or pay your fees.
Just give me a few minutes. I need to check in.
Yeah, we are very happy that you are here, and we gladly welcome you here. But still, this touches also the parties who are not present here and shall be present here. Pay your fees. and participate in the discussions. We like you, we want to see you, and so on. Okay, I hope we can poke someone else to actually join us again. Please do poke whomever you have contact and is not present here, so that we would be able to actually do some decision making. Meanwhile, should that not be possible today to actually vote on the statute change? Are there any ideas how to procedurally continue further on? And please poke your friends who are from the other parties and are not here. No ideas, no comments how to resolve this situation, and no friends online who could join and participate in this meeting. I feel so sad about that. That's a sad story, you know. I see a hand risen from Alessandro.
No, just to say that it is an incredible meeting, a very, very productive, helpful, and what's I would say also quiet meeting. Not boring, but quiet. Silent. I would say silent meeting. Except for the great things that we had before when we went outside just to refresh. But I like it. Just for the records.
Thank you very much. I will again give it a little bit of time to poke your friends, poke your friends, poke your friends. And meanwhile, just a short announcement. There is a proposal coming from the Greens IFA group for a position paper regarding minimum basic income. The thing is, the MEPs would like to ask you for an informal feedback. So the idea is that as we close this session and we do stop streaming, there will be an informal discussion to collect the feedback from you. The idea is that we know that there is, let's say, or there can you cannot state the formal positions of your parties under some circumstances. Just you can inform us informally where do you see, according to your opinion, the majority for some steps to do. So this presentation will follow after this meeting. However, the people who are on the Jitsi remotely are kindly invited to participate and provide their opinions as well. We are really collecting the feedbacks, and this will be, as said, introduced and discussed after the formal part of the council session ends. So, poke your friends. No one registered. Okay, then we really failed just one party under the threshold. That's a sad story. Okay. I really thank the Slovak Pirate Party for joining here in this point and making this attempt to make our decision making possible. And unfortunately, I have to say that it's not possible to vote on the statute change here and now. And we will, within the board, discuss how to approach the problem of us unable to provide the statute change, which is seemingly more or less consensual among the member parties, as this is really troublesome. So, as no one really rejoined, I think I will have to end this point and move to the point any other business. So, is there a point, something? Is there anything to be discussed under the point any other business? Anyone willing to provide comments, inputs, and so on? Alios, please.
Yeah, I saw that you found in the European Parliament a working group over the borders of the fractions regarding cannabis legalization, and maybe you can tell some words there, because especially from a German perspective, we are also in the progress of legalizations, but I think a lot of our politicians need some lobbying and some pressure, and so I would be happy to hear something how, maybe I can work with your group and or connect them to NGOs, and would also love to call all other members to work in this direction. So yeah.
Yeah, so if I may just shortly report about that one or answer the question. The group was set up by myself and mainly the Cyrus Engerer, who is Maltese, a socialist MEP, and very like-minded, I would say, on a lot of pirate issues. We found collaboration with MEPs coming from Irish left, Luxembourgish Renew, Dutch ECR. So far, we are seeking for anyone from the EPP. There is a discussion about an EPP member who is about to join, but we have created a common manifesto for this group and launched that in the official press release, stating that we stay for the personal use of cannabis for the people across Europe. The important breakthrough is the fact that actually this is the very first group within the European Parliament which does not stay only for medical use or industrial use of cannabis, but really for personal use as a fundamental right to decide about one's body. I think that this is important. We have had this launch before the summer break, and now we are continuing to present first of all the Czech proposal on the, let's say, national level that was prepared by pirates more across Europe, but also to further work on the files on the EU level. In our understanding, what is supposed to happen now is to mainly force the EU to actually not interfere in the national state levels process of legalization. So we want to keep the autonomy of the member states in the process of legalization, so that they are actually able to do that without EU bothering them for doing so. This is, let's say, the first stage, because we are really like talking about a couple of countries like Luxembourg, Malta, Germany, Czechia, who are really in the process, while the others are still quite like lagging behind. For example, in Slovakia, you would be criminalized and punished as a criminal offense for quite some hard punishments should you be like doing things that you are doing in Czechia. Maybe in the future, what would be an interesting idea, should we have more and more countries legalizing in Europe, to actually create something like a common market, allowing you to travel and maybe sell your goods freely across the countries without being bothered, and providing the respective level of consumer protection and safety. I think this is maybe something we can discuss in future, but for that purpose, we will definitely need allies across Europe. And I'm really happy that we have managed to have this cross-partisan working group on the issue that is capable to do so. I believe it's very much for pirates to be perceived as a pirate activity. So I would like the European Pirate Party to be perceived in this scope, so that also the people who stay for legalization of cannabis in the other countries where we are not present, like for example the Ireland or Malta and so on, they learn about pirates, being active in the topic, and learn that this is an interesting activity where you can actually cooperate with pirates, or maybe even one day use it as a base for founding your own national pirate party in such cases. But that's maybe just a piece of future. But what should be admitted is that I really proactively communicate the fact that I'm chairperson of the European Pirate Party, and pirates are supportive towards that idea. I hope it's not contradicting to any member party activity. I guess some are happy, some are maybe just like omitting the fact. But if it would be a problem for any member party, please state that. But otherwise, we are proceeding and presenting that as a pirate activity. Hand risen from Alios.
Yeah, at least I think I can speak for my party. We greatly appreciate that. As in the current discussion now, especially the arguments which come up, oh, that's not compatible with EU law, and we still have that narcotics agreement from the 1920s on the UN level, and before we can't fix those issues, we can't do anything here on our local level. And so I think it's very, very helpful to have something like this group on the European level. Thank you.
Thank you. It's literally that way that we are here to ensure full compatibility of your legalization with the EU law. Any more comments? So if it's not the case, I'm closing the point, any other business. And with that, we have deplanted the official agenda of this meeting. I would like to thank you all for participating. I do apologize if some of the parts were, let's say, more administratively intense. However, that's the way how our statutes are and system is set. And if we want to discuss the reform, just state it and we will discuss the reform. It's not a big deal. With that, I'm really happy that we are starting to work with the Common European Election Program, and I'm looking forward to further cooperation on that one. And please do not disappear, because as we end this official part of the session, we would like to discuss the minimum income proposal here and now, both on the Jitsi and on site. Yes, that's true. We need to the family photos. So I would like to ask all of you, please switch on your cameras so that we can really make a print screen. Alessandro, would you do the print screen? Yeah. So you are the one responsible for the print screen and the quality. No, I am not there.
Chair.
Yes, Bastian.
Am I right that you won't have streaming after that? Of this meeting, you will do that only on Jitsi, right?
Yes, that's technically the only difference we are making after the ending of the session.
I want to be sure.
Yes. The intention was not to make records and just ask you what you think, without being recorded and hold to the responsibility for whatever you say, because we are then more interested in your opinions or personal opinions and opinions or views from your party as you see it, rather than official statements that binds you by your program or whatsoever.
Okay, can you repeat this magic formula? I close the meeting at.
Okay. So let's make the picture. Let's make the picture, and I will then close the meeting. I see some cameras still closed. Hey, people. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. We are collecting the personal data. Don't be shy. So I think I can officially state that it's 16:43 and I'm officially closing the session. Thank you very much for participation.